guys, it's me Erica, and so today I'm going to be showing you how to make these cards for any occasions inspired by their dads from the hit game Dreaaammm Dadddyyyy. And side note, I am really in love with this game. I love playing it with my friends, and we have like gameplay parties like Friday on every Fridays, and it's so fun like working together to get the dad we want to date us. It sounds a little bit weird, but that's the whole premise of that game. And if you have any friends that are in love with the game like mine's are, you can give them these dad inspired cards from each of the dads that are playable in the game. And you can spread the love of the dads everywhere, and with that, let us get started. So the supplies you will need for all of the cards are cardstock, glue, scissors, and pencils and pens. And some special items, depending on which card you decide to do, include Shrinky Dink's crystal clear version, glitter, paint, paintbrushes, a coffee in a mug, and origami paper. So I'll be doing all the dads in alphabetical order. So the first dad, of course, is going to be Brian. And this card is inspired by his Hawaiian t-shirt that he wears throughout the game. So what you want to do first is get a piece of green cardstock and then cut it out in the shape of his shirt. I also cut out other pieces for his collar to make it more pronounced in the shirt. Then after cutting, paint on the shirt with green hibiscus flowers that he has on his designs. And then also paint the middle white for his tank. And then after everything dries, you're done with Brian's card. You can write a letter on the white tank or in the back. And this is one of the most easiest cards to do apart from all of them. So moving on from Brian, we're gonna go to Craig, the jock dad, and this card features his adorable baby girl, River, who is always attached to him, and she's so cute. And so for this card, you will need a darkish gray-blue cardstock piece and cut it to the size you want. Since the color of the cardstock was already as close as it could be, all I needed to do was paint in the light blue that he has in part of his shirt, and also make the kind of headphones that come out of his hoodie. I also decided to add some shadows to it by mixing the colors a bit. And then after that's all dry, go ahead and print out a picture of River. I will have all the pictures that I used in the description box below in case you want to use them. And I just cut a picture of River out to make it look like she was on the card attached to Craig, and I should have made it a little bigger, but I didn't want to print it out again. So if you were planning to make this card, try to size it accordingly to the card you have. So then after you've printed out and pasted River onto the shirt, you are done, and we're gonna move on to Damien, our goth dad, and he's actually one of my favorites out of the whole dad game. So for his, I based it off of a graveyard because he really loves going graveyard hunting. So for his card, I took a piece of black cardstock and made it into a shape of a typical tombstone, which is just like almost like a hill kind of thing. And then after I cut that out, I wrote the words "Let's go graveyard hunting." I really didn't know what to put. I'm not really good at dad puns, but if you are really good at them, go ahead and choose whatever you want to put. So I wrote this out with white color pencil. And to add more color to the gravestone and more grave-like properties, I decided to make like roses that are coming out of it to represent like your dead, and then you give roses to the dead. And then I made these roses out of origami paper, but you can pretty much make it out of cardstock. I just had origami paper lying around, and I thought it might be easier since it's more bendable. And I made these flowers from a video, which I will also link down below. And then with those roses, go ahead and paste it onto the gravestone. And then using some cardstock left over from Brian's card or any green cardstock you want, go ahead and cut like long strips of it and then curl it so to make the stems of the roses. And then after that, you are done with Damien's card, and now we're going to be moving on to Hugo, who is our daughter's teacher. So using a scrap piece of light brown material, go ahead and draw his glasses frames, which are like the typical glasses that a lot of people wear now with the kind of quote-unquote hipster glasses. And then after that is done, go ahead and cut that out and then paste the frame onto Shrinky crystal clear paper, which is basically like this plastic material that I had lying around from a previous DIY, and we're gonna use this to make his glasses lenses. And I went ahead and then drew the lenses so that I don't mess up and then cut them out. And then you have Hugo's glasses, and then go ahead and print out a picture of Hugo and cut him out to paste into the lenses. After Hugo, we're gonna be moving on to Joseph, who's actually another one of my favorite dads, for different reasons. And it is inspired by the plate of cookies he gives when you first move in to your new house, and it is a way to get you to like him, to join his cool youth ministry or his cult. But if you don't know what that means, then you should probably play the game. Besides that point, we are going to make his plate of cookies. So what I did with him is that I traced a plate that I wanted the size to be so I can get a perfect circle, and then kind of outline the plate with black to make it more detailed. And then for the cookies, I also used another small round object to make the cookies circular. And for the chocolate chips, you can basically draw this on with brown marker or cut them out with small pieces of brown paper. But I decided to go with the easy route so I don't have to cut anything and do hole punched cookies. Then glue the chocolate chips onto the cookie and then glue the cookies onto the plate. And then after gluing everything down, you could write a small message on the side with either blue ink or any ink you want, really. Then after Joseph's, we're going to be moving on to Matt. For Matt, it's pretty easy. You will have to brew coffee for this, but you don't have to add any cream or anything, just plain black coffee. But if you don't want to go to that route, you can also use watercolors. I just find it easier to use coffee just because if you're going to be painting on the cup, you don't want it to mess up anything. So to make the coffee stains, use a paintbrush to paint the bottom of the cup to make the coffee stain ring, and then use over the leftover coffee to make droplets and also write the words that you want to be on the front. I just wrote coffee because I didn't know what to put, and I then pasted Matt on using a cutout that I've made previously, and then I outlined some of the stains with black to make it more defined. And after Matt, we'll be moving on to our last dad, which is Robert, and Robert's the bad dad, and it's inspired by his love of drinking. So on the Shrinky Dinks crystal clear paper, go ahead and draw a bottle inspired by any alcohol beverage you want. I just decided to do a whiskey bottle, but do that twice. I suggest doing it folded so you don't have to draw it twice. And I actually traced it out with Sharpie, but later went over it with black acrylic paint because it looked nicer and more darker. And then with the two pieces, go ahead and tape or glue together 3 sides. And with the top, go ahead and add Robert in, and then add the glitter you want in, and then seal that up so nothing gets out. And then you got a small little vodka bottle with Robert in it, and go ahead and seal. And then after that's done, go ahead and write a note that acts like the label for the bottle. And I just wrote, "For a bad day," because when you have alcohol, don't you have a bad day? I don't know. And then after that is all finished, you are done with all the Dream Daddy cards. Of course, you don't have to make all of them. Make them according to the occasion you want. But if you want to make all of them, go ahead and build up your dad collection. And then with that, you are finished. And I don't know, I'm really in love with some of these cards. Like, I really love Robert's card, and I really love Joseph's card and Damien's card. And what card is your favorite, or what dad is your favorite if you've played the game? And if you haven't played the game, I totally recommend it to play. And if you have any questions on this project, do not be afraid to ask. If you tried this DIY or the many featured on this channel, be sure to use the hashtag #ILADIYs on Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. Thank you so much, you guys, and see you next time.